The anime episode begins in the darkness of night, where a mysterious group of 3 men appears wearing black robes and carrying a strange book. Their identity remains unknown. The following morning, we see Yuki wandering through the market, feeling incredibly bored. Although the band period between him and Cecilia has ended, she is too busy to spend time with him. While walking, he runs into Kramen, who is on his day off and has come to the market to buy a gift for his girlfriend. Yuki decides to help him, but despite looking at many items, nothing catches Kramen's eye. At that moment, Yuki spots a long black coat and is instantly captivated, as owning such a coat has always been his dream. He also wished for a bat-themed helmet that covers the face, so he decides to try on the outfit. He then asks the merchant for a curved sword to complete the look. Once he sees himself, he is amazed because this is exactly the appearance he has long desired. Overcome with excitement, he asks Kramen to give him a mission immediately, promising to complete it in the blink of an eye. They head to the Adventurers Guild, where the receptionist is surprised to see Kramen since it is his day off. Kramen explains he is there for a simple matter, but when the receptionist sees the masked Yuki, she assumes Kramen has summoned a new Shikigami. Kramen denies this, explaining that this person is an old acquaintance to whom he will assign some lingering, bothersome tasks. The receptionist presents for rank missions, and Yuki requests to take all for at once. He begins his tasks immediately, encountering a massive dragon which he slays while helping the people however he can. As night falls, only one mission remains. 2 guards are shown patrolling the streets when suddenly a book appears before them, casting a spell that knocks them unconscious. The 3 individuals from the beginning envy, jealousy, and heartburn reveal themselves. They are the culprits behind the incident, aiming to rob the Valentine's Day chocolate warehouse. Just then, Yuki appears in his new attire and attacks, knowing they cannot escape. They mock him, and Envy orders Jealousy and Heartburn to get rid of him. Jealousy attempts to strike, but Yuki uses his powers to shock her and then hits Heartburn. Seeing this, Envy tries to use the book's magic on Yuki, but the spell fails. Yuki strikes back with his sword, though Envy remains unhurt. A nearby worker rejoices, realizing they will still be able to distribute Valentine's chocolates to the people the next day. Yuki is surprised to learn that people in this world also celebrate Valentine's Day. Soon after, the knights arrive along with Doc, Irene, and Raven, prompting Yuki to flee. Doc decides to inspect the area and stops near Yuki's hiding spot. He calls out, revealing he knows Yuki is there. Doc mentions he didn't realize how long Yuki had been a magic swordsman, but urges him to come to his senses, noting that while Yuki is trying to be more rational since moving to the human city, he needs to calm down. The next morning, Yuki goes to the Adventurers Guild. Kramen gives him the reward for capturing Envy and his companions, who were B-rank adventurers that lost their minds after finding a strange book in a basement. They had claimed they would destroy Valentine's Day and began stealing cocoa and chocolate. The scene shifts to the kitchen, where mates are preparing chocolates for Cecilia to give to children at the orphanage. When Valentine's Day arrives, Yuki prepares to head out. Till arrives to give Char a gift, and then Yuki goes to the guild. He finds Kramen with a box of chocolates that everyone admires because Sophia made them herself. When Kramen tastes one and finds it delicious, he jokingly forbids Yuki from having any. Later, Yuki visits Doc just as Irene arrives to give Doc a gift, thanking him for his constant help with work. Doc accepts it warmly, telling her never to hesitate to ask him for advice. Finally, Yuki visits Raven and his girlfriend as she gives him a Valentine's gift. Yuki feels frustrated that he cannot join in like the others. He heads to the market and finds people standing in long lines, eager to buy Valentine's cakes and chocolates. We see Yuki wandering through the market, muttering to himself, "I can't wish anyone luck in their romantic endeavors today." He then notices a crowd gathered and asks himself, what is this line? Feeling annoyed by them, he encounters Mikana, welcomes her, and asks, "Are you going to stand in line too?" She replies, "I don't know. I'm not a skilled cook. Maybe I should just go home." Then Yuki arrives, apologizes to Mikana for being late, and greets Yuki. Mikana asks him, "What are you doing here? Everyone is waiting for you." He tells her, "But I wanted to get your chocolate first." She says, "But the result was strange again this time, so it's not delicious." He tells her he will take it anyway. Yuki is shocked by the chocolate. Mikana gives the chocolate to Yuga, and as he tastes it, she asks, "It's not tasty, is it?" He tells her it is delicious and adds, I don't feel like it's Valentine's Day until I taste your chocolate, Mikana. Later, Yuki goes to the palace and says to himself, I ended up here, I'm pathetic. Celia approaches him and mentions that Cecilia went to the city. Celia offers him chocolate, but he tells her he doesn't want chocolate from anyone except Cecilia. She asks, is my chocolate not good enough? So he takes it and thanks her. Then Duke arrives and informs him that Envy has escaped from prison. The scene shifts to Cecilia giving chocolate to some children. Envy arrives with a massive monster and the children flee in fear. Envy speaks about everything he suffered because of Valentine's blessings. The monster uses its power to take all the chocolate. Heartburn then speaks, inflict punishment on everyone who flatters others because of their beauty. A group of villains arrive with a monster, attempting to ruin Valentine's Day. Yuki tried to stop them, but one of the villains shouted, shut up. A handsome guy like you gets plenty of chocolate, so you don't understand our horrible feelings. The monster tried to kill Yuga and Mikana, but Yuki arrived just in time to stop it, ordering the rest of the team to take the townspeople to safety. One of the villains laughed and declared, this is the end of Valentine's Day. Yuki halted them, and when one asked who he was, he told them to stop their senseless violence. He explained that he understood their feelings and might have done the same if his circumstances were slightly different. But it was wrong to let their rage explode just because they didn't receive chocolate. A villain retorted that Yuki's situation was no different and felt sure he hadn't received any chocolate either. Yuki replied that he had received some from his friend's mother. The villain mocked him, asking if admitting that felt meaningless, but Yuki insisted it wasn't. Yuki and the villains began to fight. One villain taunted him, saying there was no hope for him this Valentine's Day either. But Yuki declared he wouldn't give up his quest to get chocolate from the girl he loved by the end of the day. As the battle resumed, a villain asked if he really wanted the girl he loved to give him chocolate, and if getting it from someone unimportant was annoying. Yuki replied that as long as they prepared the chocolate with love, it would make him happy. One of the villains ordered the monster to gather all the chocolate in the city. Mikana told the monster that the chocolate belonged to everyone, and they didn't. No, what would happen if that thing were harmed? Yuki promised them he would get it back. Using his magic, Yuki successfully returned the chocolate to Cecilia, defeated the monster, and restored the treats to everyone. Yuga was surprised to find the opponent was a girl. She told him that some girls hate Valentine's Day because she remembered a friend telling her, I don't want chocolate from a girl who looks like a boy. Yuga told her that wasn't true. She claimed he only said that because he was handsome. But Yuga insisted he would be happy to receive chocolate from any girl as long as it was made with love. Cecilia came to Yuki, praised his efforts, and offered him some biscuits. Yuki was overjoyed, but someone nearby mentioned how delicious they tasted. Yuki asked if he had received the same thing, only to discover that Yuki's box contained a cake. Everyone else felt sad because it wasn't fair for Yuki to get the cake all to himself. Yuki was thrilled that Cecilia gave the cake specifically to him. This is how the anime episode ends. If you like the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything new.
Welcome back. A string of baffling thefts plagues the port city of Fremel. When Yuki accepts the Merchant Guild's desperate plea, an unwelcome entourage follows, a powerful princess and a skeptical knight commander. Their search for the thieves leads them straight to the terrifying secret of the sea. The anime episode begins in the Adventurers Guild, where we see Yuki and Kramen. A message arrives from the Merchants Guild, informing them that trade shipments are being constantly stolen from merchant ships in the port city of Fremel. They request an investigation to catch the thieves and recover the stolen cargo if possible. They ask Yuki to take on this mission, and he agrees. However, he first goes to Cecilia to ask her to accompany him, but she refuses because she has important work to finish and cannot leave Minerva for several consecutive days. Yuki becomes very sad because he didn't check Cecilia's schedule in advance. As he leaves, Highness and then Raven arrive and offer to go with him to Fremel. When Raven learns that Highness wants to join, he gets annoyed because this is a mission they need to complete, not a leisurely trip. But Yuki insists on her presence, arguing that her powerful magic could be very useful in combat. Raven is unaware of Highness's full capabilities as they have only recently met. Afterward, they board a carriage and arrive in Fremel. Yuki suggests they split up. He will go meet the client to learn more about the mission, while Raven and Highness explore the city for information. This is Yuki's way of giving them time to talk privately. The client arrives and they inform him they are there on behalf of the Merchants Guild, asking what he knows about the ship thefts. He replies that he knows nothing, and if he did, they wouldn't be facing these difficulties. He explains that things are stolen even with guards present, and officials treat the sailors like thieves, but the sailors haven't stolen anything or hidden any secrets. He assures them that he and his men will answer any questions. He then calls over his sailor friends for Raven and Highness to question. Yuki then rejoins them. He asks Raven if he found any information, and Raven denies it, saying no one has any details about the thieves. Every ship was guarded the entire time, but no one remembers the moment the theft occurred. Yuki is puzzled by this. Raven continues, saying if the sailors were responsible, they would have fabricated a better lie. He mentions that some people reported their memories being cut off and hearing a sweet song, leading him to suspect the involvement of demons, specifically mermaids. Yuki secretly hopes to meet a mermaid. Yuki then calls over Highness and tells her he heard there is a mermaid nearby. The sailors panic, fearing they will all be devoured. They beg Yuki and his companions to eliminate the threat immediately. Yuki is confused by their intense fear, not knowing if mermaids are actually dangerous. They inform him that one mermaid has destroyed many ships and killed several humans, making the previously safe sea routes terrifying for them now. Raven steps forward, introducing himself as the commander of the Clarinese Knights. He states it is a knight's duty to protect people and vows to defeat the mermaid. Everyone is astonished that this young man is the knight commander from the Heroes Squad, expressing happiness at his presence and urging him to eliminate the demons. Yuki talks to Highness, noting that from a human perspective, demons and monsters are frightening. Highness mentions that the Demon King's army is invading humans. Raven returns, apologizing for the delay, saying he brought more paper and pens, but while shopping, he found someone who claimed to have seen a mermaid. Raven recalls a knight telling him that the sailors were hiding the shipment in a small bay outside the city, and there was a mermaid inside, suggesting they investigate. He then asks Highness to wait, emphasizing that demon activity is dangerous, recalling a time when demons devastated a village and he couldn't save many lives. As a knight, he must protect people and assures her he will defeat the mermaid. Highness refuses to stay behind and goes with him. Yuki tells Raven that Highness is stronger than she appears. They go to the location and find a description of the stolen cargo. The bay is very small and cannot fit a boat. Suddenly, the mermaid emerges and sings at the top of her voice. They plug their ears. Yuki thinks to himself that if he lets his guard down, he'll fall asleep in an instant. We then see Highness use her song to cancel out the mermaid's melody. Yuki uses his magic, and rocks emerge from the water to shield the mermaid. Raven rushes forward, intending to kill her. The mermaid cries out, "No more! I'm not asking for death, but I need your help. Humans captured my friend, and she hasn't done anything wrong. I want you to save her." Raven responds, "I won't be fooled by those demonic lies." Highness steps in front of the mermaid to stop Raven from attacking, refusing to move. Highness tries to defend the mermaid, but Raven orders her to step away and not protect a demon. Yuki asks Raven to lower his sword for the moment. Raven asks if Yuki is siding with the demon. Yuki replies, "No, if she attacks humans, she must be eliminated. I won't spare anyone who harms me or my friends." Raven lowers his sword. Yuki asks Highness if she is okay and tells her to inform them if anything happens. The mermaid asks if they believe her. Highness replies, "Yes." Yuki introduces himself as the adventurer Yuki. Highness asks Yuki if he injured his head. Yuki assures her he is completely lucid and trying to ease the tension. The mermaid tells them her name is Shiki. Yuki asks why she tried to put them to sleep. She explains a human ordered her to. Mermaids usually avoid humans, but one day she and her friend Misaki were playing and got caught in a sudden storm, ending up in human hands. The human told Shiki that if she wanted her friend to survive, she had to do as he asked. Back in the present, Shiki tells Yuki she had to obey the human's orders and sang to hypnotize the people on the boats. Yuki comments that she doesn't seem to be lying. Raven warns him not to be deceived by appearances. Highness asks Raven if he doesn't believe her. Raven says he can never trust a demon. Highness tells him to trust her, as she trusts the mermaid. Raven agrees, saying he will start a new investigation based on what she said. Scene transition. Yuki, Highness, and Raven stand in front of several crates. Highness declares, "These are fake, left here for show." Raven concludes, so the thief spread false information to lure their pursuers here, intending for the mermaid to put them to sleep to eliminate them. Yuki angrily exclaims, "What? We could have been killed." Raven says that's a roundabout method for a demon. Yuki asks Shiki if she knows where the thief is. Shiki apologizes, saying her eyes were covered during transport, so she doesn't know. Raven speculates that if his guess is correct, the thieves will arrive here soon. Scene transition. A group of thieves appears. One says, I didn't expect to attract the attention of the Knight Commander. Another suggests, maybe it's time for us to move to another island. Raven approaches them. One says to Raven, Commander, it's a pleasure to see you well. We were worried and came to check on you. Raven asks, are you the thieves? One replies, what? Your voice sounds strange. Raven calls them fools, stating, you and I are beneath that mermaid. At least she cares about her friend and didn't kill you, but you will be judged by the law. The fight begins. We see Raven fighting the thieves and managing to defeat them. As some attempt to flee, Yuki intercepts them, shouting, you dared to exploit a mermaid, you scoundrels! I'll end your story. Highness joins Raven, offering to fight alongside him. They use their combined strength to defeat the remaining thieves. One thief confesses, you misunderstood. That mermaid controls us. Raven asks, where is the mermaid's friend? They then find a moving crate, from which the friend emerges. Yuki asks, are you the mermaid Misaki? She explains she can transform her fins into legs but cannot use her powers when she does so. Misaki goes to Shiki, who expresses fear for her safety. Misaki asks, do you think I would die that easily? She then thanks Yuki, Raven and Highness for rescuing her. Yuki tells her not to underestimate the danger. Shiki thanks them for saving Misaki, saying, we owe you our lives. Misaki offers to sing a song to express her gratitude. Shiki and Misaki begin to sing, astonishing the heroes. Highness joins them in song. Yuki tells them to be careful not to be captured by villains again. Raven approaches Shiki, apologizing for trying to kill her when she was innocent. They bid farewell to the two mermaids. And thus, today's episode concludes. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive all new content. The anime episode begins with Yuki in his room, accompanied by Teal, who has come to deliver a message from Cecilia. Yuki thanks Teal profusely for coming, even though it is her day off. He then asks her to rest there, while he steps out briefly. When Yuki leaves, Teal greets her guardian with great enthusiasm, having strictly adhered to the required time and place, and maintained her composure as requested. She informs him that she has brought some magic stones that he likes, urging him to take as many as he wishes without hesitation, as she works hard to always provide them for him. The conversation with Cecilia and Doc's advice. The scene shifts to Yuki visiting Cecilia. They discuss TL and her great affection for the guardian, Gar. After finishing their talk, Yuki leaves Cecilia and runs into his friend Doc to ask for some romantic advice. As Doc knows, Yuki can use the vanishing spell to become invisible. After bidding farewell to Cecilia, he was curious to see what she was doing at that moment, so he used the spell and entered her room. He found her training with Siku, unaware of the immense effort she was putting in. This worried him, as he felt he didn't truly know the girl he loved. Doc became angry, telling Yuki that he could be arrested for illegal entry and stalking. Despite admitting his love for Cecilia, he wasn't taking enough initiative. In Doc's view, Yuki was too cowardly, and if he truly wanted to be her companion for tea forever, he needed to make some progress in their relationship. Makana's arrival and Cecilia's past. At that moment, Makana enters. Doc seizes the opportunity and asks her to tell Yuki about Cecilia, as she knows her well. Makana sits down with Refine to tell Yuki everything about Cecilia. Makana explains that the hero party had no real existence without Cecilia. There was a problem with the women constantly gathering around Yuga, which caused major issues among them, and Cecilia always calmed things down. They had divided the party's tasks. Yuga was in charge of cooking, but every time he went to gather ingredients, he always ran into trouble. So Cecilia and Makana handled scouting and information gathering, since their swordsman was useless. Cecilia also managed their finances. Despite Yuga being useless and causing accidents, he was kind-hearted. Yuki asks Makana to stop talking about Yuga and to tell him about Cecilia. Makana mentions that Cecilia used to have the same nickname she has now, which confuses Yuki. Just then, Cecilia enters, looking for Makana because she wanted to talk about old memories. She takes Makana and they leave. Refine then apologizes to Yuki, saying he shouldn't have revealed Cecilia's nickname. Yuki dismisses this, as it helped reveal one of Cecilia's sensitive points. Refine then asks Yuki to accompany him somewhere if he is free. Refine takes him to the orphanage where Cecilia often volunteers. When the young children see them, they rush to greet Refine, calling him the merciless hero. Refine gives them their favorite sweets, hero nicknames, and a new plan. As they head back home, Refine explains to Yuki that he earned the nickname Merciless because he doesn't speak during battles, leading some to see him as a man of great mercy who doesn't bleed or cry. He also tells Yuki that Yuga is nicknamed the Wandering Hero, Makana's nickname is the Eternal Guardian, a friend, and Cecilia's nickname is the Saintly Mother, but she dislikes it. Refine admits he cannot tell Yuki why she dislikes it, but is sure Yuki will learn more going forward and that opportunities will arise. Yuki decides he needs to get get to know Cecilia better, to grow closer to her. Refine suggests that Yuki should take on a quest with her so he can get closer to her. Yuki is delighted by this suggestion as it fits the trope where the hero bravely saves the heroine when she's in trouble, inevitably leading to her falling in love with him. The Undead Quest. The next morning, Yuki finds a quest to share with Cecilia, and she agrees. Yuki decides he will show her what he can do during this quest. At that moment, Makana arrives because Refine had an urgent matter come up and couldn't join them. Yuki tells Makana he has a plan. Makana asks him to share it so she can evaluate it. Yuki explains his quest is to eliminate some undead who have made a ruined castle their lair. Makana is not impressed by this idea. Although it would be a good opportunity for Cecilia to shine, Yuki forgot that Cecilia is a priestess, and dealing with the undead is her specialty. His problem is that he plans everything around himself, and he needs to put Cecilia first. Makana suggests that she and Cecilia can be the main fighters today, and she will support them, emphasizing they need to work together to defeat the enemy, as trust is built by listening to each other. Just then, Cecilia arrives, apologizing for being late and mentioning she brought happiness with her. Inside the castle, they move to the castle where the undead are located. Yuki lays out the plan. He and Cecilia will take the front line, while Makana and Happiness guard the rear. They enter the castle, and Cecilia takes the lead, showing no fear of the ghosts. A group of undead approaches, and Cecilia uses her power to crush them quickly. Another group arrives, and Yuki takes charge, using his magic to restrain them. Cecilia finishes them off using the Holy Circle spell, a fundamental spell for any priestess that enhances her magic's effectiveness. Yuki reminds her to stay hydrated. They reach the final room, which is packed with a massive number of undead, a rare sight gathered in such a confined space. They are certain the boss will be here. When Yuki opens the door, they find the Lich King. He appears significant, with a crown. Yuki wonders about his power, and Cecilia replies that the Lich King's strength isn't much different from a regular undead, but he is smarter, confronting the Lich King. Yuki and the team enter the room where the Lich King sits, crowned and appearing important. Cecilia reiterates that his strength is only slightly greater than a regular undead, but he is much smarter. Yuki addresses him. Now, undead who has taken another's home without permission, we will send you back to the world of the dead. The Lich King demands to know who they are and is angered by the intruders. Makana informs him that his comrades will not be coming, and Yuki clarifies that he is the last remaining undead. Yuki begins to confront the Lich King, knocking the crown off his head, revealing he is just an ordinary skeleton. Happiness calls him trash, and Yuki tries to brush it off as a joke, which Happiness deems rude. Yuki asks for a moment to explain. The Lich King takes the crown, puts it back on his head, and rages at Yuki for daring to do that. Yuki and the Lich King fight again, and the Lich King loses once more. Makana tells Yuki that this is an act of nobility on the king's part. The king offers them the crown, admitting defeat. Yuki tells Cecilia it seems he has abdicated the throne, and asks her to use the Holy Circle to finish this quickly. Cecilia asks the Lich King why he is so attached to that shabby crown. He replies it was dear to him. He doesn't know why, but it was very important. Cecilia suggests, perhaps you were once the king of a living land. She tells him, I will send you to the world of the dead with your crown, and uses her magic to send him away. Makana tells Cecilia she shouldn't use such advanced magic. Yuki confirms that they have eliminated all the undead. Makana asks if they should return home. Yuki tells Makana and Happiness since they didn't do anything, why don't they go check the surroundings of the castle? They leave, and Yuki tells them, we'll meet at the carriage. Yuki asks Cecilia, should I help you stand, or should I carry you on my back? Cecilia apologizes and asks Yuki to support her. Yuki tells her she used a lot of magic. Cecilia explains she wasn't sure if he would take his crown with him. Yuki remarks that he seemed happy. While they are talking, Cecilia stumbles, and Yuki supports her. He then lifts her and tells her not to worry. He will walk as fast as possible so they won't be seen. Interlude and evaluation. A scene shift shows Makana and Happiness finding Yuki and Cecilia. Makana asks why they are so far apart from the others. Another scene shift. Yuki orders the carriage to stop, announcing they are getting off here. Yuki, Makana, and Happiness disembark, and Yuki says goodbye to the others in the carriage. Yuki asks Makana for her evaluation. Makana replies, I remember. Yuki tells her to just tell him. Makana says there is no evaluation, apologizing that she cannot rate what happened. Yuki asks if she means it wasn't worth evaluating. She replies no, but it's better not to. She advises him, don't overthink everything, just give it your all. Yuki finds this vague. Makana insists it's the best advice she can give, and tells him she's going home before leaving, realizing she needs to put in more effort herself. The Saintly Mother nickname, final scene with Yuki and Cecilia. Cecilia asks him, I heard you visited the orphanage, tell me about the children, and since I discovered you know my nickname, I must ask you not to call me that, please. Yuki replies, I won't do anything that bothers you, but may I ask why? If she doesn't want to answer, that's fine. When you started talking to the Lich King, you showed great solemnity. It reminded me of that time in the Demon King's castle. It reminded me of a saint, truly. I felt like a saint was reaching out her hand to me. Cecilia says, I will tell you why I was nicknamed the Saintly Mother. It's a famous story, so it's better if you don't hear it from someone else. She recalls someone once saying to her, "Well done, Cecilia. You handle cooking, sewing, gathering information, and managing money. You're like a mother." Cecilia explains that from then on, people started calling her mother in front of others. Cecilia gets angry at Yuki because he is laughing so hard. The episode ends here. If you enjoyed the video, please hit like, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell icon to receive all new content. What happens when a mysterious magic duelist, a rookie demon guardian, and a runaway hero candidate cross paths in the world of adventurers? In today's episode, secrets begin to unravel, friendships are tested, and a simple beginner quest turns into the start of a much bigger adventure. From missing pets to ancient ruins and dangerous magic, Yuki and his companions take their first real steps into a journey that might change their fate forever. Let's dive into today's episode. The episode begins with Yuki in his room talking with the guardian Gar. Gar says he wants to start working because he can't keep living there like a freeloader. Also, Till keeps bringing him magic stones whenever she visits, spending a lot of her hard-earned money on him. Yuki agrees and transforms Gar before taking him to the Adventurers Guild so he can register as an adventurer. When they submit the required paper, the receptionist becomes a little nervous because Gar looks suspicious. Yuki reassures her that Gar is his friend and that although he may look intimidating, he can be trusted. The receptionist then calls Kramen to handle their request. Gar tells him he wants to register as an adventurer, so Kramen prepares the paperwork to issue him an adventurer card. Since Yuki, the Black Lightning magic duelist, is taking responsibility for him, Kramen has no concerns. He gives Gar his adventurer card and tells them to come back tomorrow so he can find a beginner-level quest for him. After that, they walk around the city and discuss the day's mission. Yuki explains that he refused to accept a quest immediately because Gar needs preparation first. He needs a weapon and shouldn't rely on his black magic. If he uses it, everyone will realize that he is a demon. Since Gar doesn't know anything about the city of Minerva, Yuki decides to spend the day guiding him around. The next morning, they go to the guild to receive their quest. Kramen tells them that someone came looking for Yuki, the Black Lightning magic duelist, and is waiting behind the guild. When Yuki goes outside, he discovers that the person waiting is Cecilia. He becomes extremely nervous and tries to hide behind his title, but Cecilia is certain that he is Yuki. Sophia told her everything and mentioned that the Black Lightning magic duelist had appeared again. She had already heard rumors about him, and the more she heard, the more he seemed to resemble Yuki. Worried that a big commotion might start, Cecilia decided to come find him herself. She also knows that Yuki wears the duelist outfit, so Gar won't seem suspicious. She insists on helping them because she would be worried if she left him to handle everything alone. The first quest. They begin with a beginner mission. They visit a family to inform them that the Adventurers Guild has sent them to find their missing pet. However, the townspeople become scared when they see them and quickly run away. Cecilia asks Yuki and Gar to leave the talking to her. She approaches the couple and asks them to describe their cat, its color and size. They explain that the cat is brown, very intelligent, and usually returns home after wandering outside. But this time, it has been missing for a whole week. Cecilia draws a picture of the cat based on their description. Yuki suggests they first question the neighbors and the patrol knights before searching the town. Suddenly, he runs off quickly because his sense of smell caught the cat's scent from the owner. Using his instant lightning step, he dashes across the town, searching everywhere. Eventually, he finds the cat. However, the animal refuses to come with him, so he gently puts it to sleep and brings it back. He also brings another injured cat he found and treated, asking the owners to take care of it until it recovers. The mission is completed and they report back to the guild to receive their reward, Gar's training. Yuki becomes excited and wants to immediately take another quest, but Cecilia refuses. She says nobody can complete missions the way Yuki does, and Gar didn't gain any experience from that. This time, Gar should take the lead while they guide him. Their next quest is gathering herbs along a common adventurer path. Yuki teaches Gar not to take more than necessary so other adventurers can still find herbs too. Gar collects a fair amount. After that, they take another mission, defeating several goblins. This becomes Gar's first real battle. With encouragement from his friends, Gar defeats the monsters with a single strike. They return to the guild and report their completed quests. Kramen gives them a pouch filled with their reward money. At that moment, Gar remembers Till, who works so hard and spends money on him despite her weak condition. He decides he will work even harder to repay her kindness. Gar then tells his friends that from now on, he wants to complete quests by himself. He believes he understands how the system works and doesn't want to cause trouble for them anymore. Yuki's Rank A mission. After Gar leaves, Yuki mentions that he wants to take a Rank A mission. Cecilia asks to come with him, but Yuki initially refuses because the mission requires traveling for several days and camping outdoors. However, Cecilia insists. She returns home, changes clothes, and becomes Adventurer Cecilia. In this outfit, no one would recognize her as a member of the hero's party. Yuki finally agrees to let her join him. The Ruins mission. Kramen is very happy that they accepted the mission because it is extremely troublesome. The quest involves investigating ancient ruins. This mission is difficult because it isn't about fighting strong monsters. There are no villages on the road for rest. They must explore the ruins without damaging them. Offensive magic should generally be avoided. Their job is mainly to study the creatures living in the ruins. Camping in the forest. That night, they set up camp in the forest. Yuki confidently declares in his dramatic style that as the Black Lightning magic duelist, he will make camping comfortable. He has already checked that the area is safe and gathered fruits and vegetables for their meal. Cecilia asks him why he doesn't remove his mask since nobody else is around. Yuki insists he cannot reveal his identity until the mission is over. However, he modified the mask so he can still eat while wearing it. Cecilia cooks dinner and Yuki is amazed by how delicious it is. After eating, he quickly puts his mask back on and tells her they should sleep early since they must wake up at dawn. Cecilia jokingly replies that she actually completed more missions than he did today. After all, she is one of the chosen heroes destined to defeat the Demon King. That night, Cecilia remembers a moment in the royal palace when the king tried to force her into an arranged marriage with a powerful noble's heir. She refused, saying she still lacked experience and had no intention of marrying anyone. But the king reminded her that the boy she once liked had already abandoned her. The memory leaves her feeling deeply sad. Inside the ruins. The next day, they enter the ruins. Cecilia suggests she should take the front line since Yuki's magic might accidentally destroy the ruins. However, Yuki refuses. He says he can sense monsters nearby. Soon, he detects 13 creatures ahead, bats and small rats. Cecilia panics because she cannot restrain them all at once. They try to avoid fighting, but Yuki casts a mid-level dark spell that distracts the creatures. The monsters become mesmerized by illusions, showing them what they love most. While the monsters are distracted, Yuki and Cecilia quietly slip past them. Mission complete. Eventually, they reach a beautiful underground natural area filled with strange mushrooms. Although Yuki hoped to find ancient treasures, magical swords, or a sleeping dragon, the ruins turn out to be mostly natural formations. Still, the investigation is complete. They return to the guild and submit their report. The staff member is thrilled because the written report is extremely valuable. This was exactly why no one else had been assigned the mission before. They receive a large reward, the ending. Later, when they return to their room, they find a small girl waiting there. She asks about Gar because she has been searching for him for 4 days. Suddenly, Gar appears and explains that he rented a nearby room and has become an adventurer so he can earn his own living. He tells her she doesn't need to burden herself by buying magic stones for him anymore. The girl becomes emotional and says serving him was the greatest happiness in her life. Meanwhile, Yuki finally removes his mask, relieved that the embarrassing Black Lightning magic duelist act is over. Cecilia reassures him that even though his magic often causes trouble and attracts attention, it was thanks to his power that they completed the mission safely. Yuki becomes excited again and declares that he hasn't even shown his full power yet. And that's how today's episode ends. If you enjoyed the story and want to see what happens next in Yuki's adventures, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. Our episode begins with Yuki and his friends planning a meeting with Raven and Happiness. Yuki suggests they ask the guild for a new quest and invite Cecilia and Happiness to accompany them. However, Duke suggests that Raven should ask Happiness out on a date. Yuki and Raven are surprised as they can't imagine Raven doing such a thing, but Yuki immediately agrees to the idea. Then we see everyone on a sunny day with Yuki and his friends outside with the girls. Yuki asks his friend Duke how long he's had a crush on Irene. Duke tells him he's liked her since he first saw her. Everyone walks on to go to a newly opened place that Happiness wants to visit. Raven suggests they go to the bakery or have lunch, but Happiness refuses. Raven stands in front of them to stop them from walking, but Cecilia steps forward and warns them that the place will be very crowded and chaotic if they go there, so there's no need to go today. Everyone refuses and decides to go there anyway. When they arrive, they find that the king has erected statues in their honor to celebrate their defeat of the Demon King. We then see Raven and Happiness sitting alone, eating. The rest of their friends watch them from a distance. Suddenly, a group of guards appears and sees their commander, Raven, with the girl, Happiness. They start laughing because he is on a date with her. Duke immediately intervenes and tells the guards that Commander Raven has the day off. The guards mock him and leave. Raven becomes sad and leaves his friends immediately. Yuki and Duke follow him. While walking, Duke tells Yuki that there are knights who don't see them as servants, and that a commander who doesn't speak like Raven is not the one who assembled them, but rather the deputy commander who formed a faction to attack Raven. They reach Raven, and Duke tells him not to do that ever, not to be embarrassed by anything, and if he does that again, he shouldn't see Happiness again. Duke tells him he is very disappointed in him and leaves. Yuki sits next to Raven, and Raven tells him he is weak and helpless. He recalls the mission they undertook at sea, where Happiness told him she was hiding a secret and was afraid of something. He suspects it's something serious, but he shied away from knowing the secret. All he could do was worry and be apprehensive. All he can ever do is run away and lacks the courage to approach the girl he loves. Yuki Yuki tries to reassure him, telling him he's not alone in failing at romance. He mentions that when he met his beloved Cecilia, he had to wear a mask on his face. He tries to encourage Raven, telling him to stand up immediately to go to the girls and apologize to Happiness. When Raven and Yuki go to them, Raven apologizes to everyone. Happiness approaches him and tells him she has forgiven him. Then they all go shopping. As they walk, Raven tells Happiness that he knows she doesn't rely on him currently, but he will try hard to make her trust him and tell him her secret someday. After several days, Cecilia rushes to Yuki's house, telling him Happiness is missing. The friends gather, and Cecilia tells them that Happiness requested a long leave of absence and left them a note that read, "Come look for me in the forest in a month." We then see Yuki and Duke searching for Happiness. She appears before them and tells them she has made her decision and will tell Raven the truth about herself. Duke tells her to think carefully, because if Raven doesn't accept it, she might lose everything. They might also investigate her relationship with Raven and all of them, and everyone would lose everything they gained since coming to this city. Happiness tells him she doesn't want to lie again and wants to tell him the truth. Everyone agrees, and Happiness thanks them for allowing her to tell Raven the truth. We then see Raven walking, and a group of guards appears before him. The head guard calls him by name, and Raven gets angry, telling him never to call him by his name again and not to allow a knight like him to break the order with rudeness. The guards are surprised because Raven has become bolder and is speaking. They apologize to Raven and tell him they won't repeat it. After a month passes, Cecilia tells Yuki that almost a month has passed since Happiness left. Yuki tells her that their friend Maddock is taking Raven to Happiness now. Yuki leaves, and Cecilia's mother appears and asks her if she told Yuki about the marriage arrangements. Cecilia tells her she hasn't done so yet because Yuki is currently busy helping his friends and she doesn't want to cause him more worry. Her mother tells her that her future husband has arrived in Minerva and Yuki will eventually find out, so she should tell him. Cecilia tells her mother that she agreed to the marriage solely to comply with the king's order and will refuse his marriage proposal immediately after the meeting. Her mother asks her what she feels towards Yuki. Cecilia angrily replies, "Yuki has nothing to do with this." We then see Raven walking and meeting Duke. Raven asks Duke to go with him and they go to the forest together. Raven draws his sword and tells Duke he will kill him. Duke tells him he thought he would be able to accept Happiness. Raven attacks Duke and they fight each other. Duke realizes that Raven is stronger than before and decides to reveal his true identity as a demon. When Raven sees him, he is surprised and asks Duke what he did to Happiness. Raven refuses to answer and attacks him, but Duke directs a very strong magical strike at him, knocking him down. Raven doesn't give up and gets up again. Duke asks him what happened between him and Happiness. Raven tells him that Happiness said Yuki stripped her feathers to disguise himself as a human, and she asked him to beat her up for that. Yuki is surprised by this, tells him to stop, throws the sword away, and calls out to Happiness. Happiness comes out, and both of them apologize to Yuki. He asks them how they settled the matter. Raven tells him that Duke led him to a certain forest, left him, and Raven began searching for Happiness. He finds her hiding in a tree, and she tells him that her story began and ended in this place. Then she appears before him with 2 wings, surprising Raven with her appearance. She tells him she lied to him, but when she thought about it, she decided to tell him the truth and apologize to him. Raven approaches her, hugs her, and apologizes for not noticing all this time. He tells her he won't leave her because he loves her, and she confesses her love for him too. When he returns to reality, Yuki is happy that they confessed their love for each other. He then restrains them with chains and uses his magic to create a magical barrier on them as punishment for what they did to him. He leaves them and goes to Cecilia, telling her that Raven and Happiness's relationship succeeded. He tells her he will be gone temporarily because Yoga asked for his help on a mission to go to a mine, which might take a week or two. Suddenly, Raven and Happiness enter, looking angry. Cecilia asks them what they did to Yuki. Yuki tells her that they started it, leaves them, and immediately departs, escaping through the balcony. Raven grabs Happiness's hand and chases after Yuki, but Yuki is faster and manages to escape. And so, our episode ends today. To follow more episodes, please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all new updates.